Honor and all praises to the Most High by saying hallelujah. Welcome to Sether Elion platform. Today, our first podcast of the day, Duty of Man, Marriage and Relationships by our elder of the House of Israel community, Moreh Yemuel. Hallelujah. How you feeling today, elder?
I'm a little tired, but other than that, the Almighty still keep me going, so I can't complain whatsoever. I feel good. I feel great, matter of fact, because I
Praise Yah.
received that first blessing of the day, which was waking up, and I
Absolutely.
woke up in my right state of mind. So I can't complain. I won't complain. Hallelujah.
Praise Yah. What we got on the subject for today?
Well, we got a few different things this brewing, but before we get started, and keeping in mind that just for the audience that may be attending for the first time ever watching this, we talk about relationships and how to better relationships, and hopefully those relationships turn into a marriage, if not already a marriage. But I want to ask you a question just starting out, and I want to ask you to describe what you would perceive to be a good woman, and also what you would perceive to be a good man. Just take your time, and any attributes that you think that would be an attribute of a good woman along with a good man. Tell me what those things are.
First and foremost, may the Most High be with my mouth. But according to Scripture, which is what I go by, my guideline, my lifeline, King Solomon said, "The fear of Yah is the beginning of knowledge." So, the very first quality we want to look for in a good individual is how they measure up to the laws, to the standards of the Most High. How are they carrying themselves, their decorum? Do they have some type of spirituality? Do they have a relationship with the Most High? That's what I look for, and that's gonna determine my attraction to that woman initially. Is how is her service to the Creator? What does she do for the Most High? What type of servant are you? So that's the first thing I look for. Um, some of the other qualities I look for, of course, is honesty and integrity. The Almighty say, "Lying lips are an abomination unto me." And as we discussed on a podcast before, a lot of times people carry a representative with them when they first get to know an individual, and that's one of the things that that's one of the things that I fell victim to that before. Individuals pretending to be something that they're not. So the second attribute I look for is that honesty, and then of course, how is her relationship with her father, her parents in general. Do you have parents? Do you come from a stable house? Did you have a father figure growing up? An uncle? A father figure. Those are the main three things I would look at. Um, but the character of an individual, of course, the fear of Yah, honesty, and she just has to have my best interest in some type of way. I don't want nobody wants to be with anybody that does not have their best interest, and that go past anything romantically. Even when you picking a friend or somebody to be around, you want to make sure you're around somebody that's honest and that understands their role in your life. You know what I'm saying? So praise Yah.
Attributes or the traits of what you would call a good man. Describe a good, and I'm asking these things based on knowing that this man and this woman are going to try and build a relationship that would go somewhere, and going somewhere would be marriage,
There you go.
if not already married.
There you go.
Some of those attributes that if an individual or individuals are already married, what would be some attributes that maybe if they didn't have it, if they had it, it could help increase the chance of them having a long standing marriage, a long standing relationship.
Oh, absolutely. The man he has to be strong. He has to be a strong-minded man, strong at heart, and strong in the laws of Yah. He has to have discipline and rule over his spirit. That's the main thing because the Almighty called the man to be the head of the house. So even if everybody else are not on their job, right? We looking at of course we are entertaining the possibility of a marriage here. So the quality that I would look for my daughter when I marry her is that man, is he strong, and is he strong mentally? Does he have good control of his spirit? Right? Can you teach this individual? Is he an individual that thinks he knows everything? Is he arrogant? Right? Because you're gonna fall and you're gonna need people around you to counsel you and help you. Um, so is he strong minded? Can he take counsel and advice? And then another thing is how is his finances? Finances are very, very important when you're looking at a long term relationship. And before I would give away my daughter, I want to make sure that this man has some type of skill or some type of training under his belt. So even if he falls on hard times, he'll know how to he'll have the skills and the capability to still feed his family and feed my daughter and his children. So those three things right there, strong mind, rule over his spirit, can take counsel and advice, and he has some type of skill or training that enables him to create wealth for himself and his family. Hallelujah.
That's good. That's
Praise
good
God.
because see, I would appreciate it if when my daughter, should she one day become a man's wife,
Mhm.
I would like for myself and this man, whoever he might be, to be able to have a good relationship to where he could take advice and counsel
Yes, sir.
from
Talk
myself
about it. Talk about it. Talk
because
about it.
I'm entrusting this man with my daughter.
There you go. There you go.
And if I'm going to entrust someone with my daughter, I need to be able to have a good relationship with him as well.
There you go.
That way, should they run into any type of situation, whether it's a situation where they might need help, it could be help because they're having some friction. It could be help because they need some help with finances,
There you go.
just help in general. I would want them to be able to come to me and not feel embarrassed or anything. So if they're having any type of issue, if I could help them to alleviate or eliminate that issue, I would love to be a part of that
Absolutely.
because we want to have peace. But not only do we want to have peace, we want to have our situations to where you're not embarrassed because you have an issue
There you go.
and you want to have that issue resolved because a lot of times people don't understand that most, if not all people in their relationships are going to run into some issue or another.
Inevitable.
And as long as that relationship lasts, there don't have to be constant relationship issues, but there will be some issues that come up. But we have to be wise enough to know how to resolve those issues and resolve them peaceably. You see what I'm saying? We don't have to lose control over our spirit. We don't have to be loud and obnoxious. We don't have to go about things in a way that we see happening a lot in these days.
Yeah.
You can see people having issues out in parking lots, inside of restaurants, inside of grocery stores, or wherever, and people just don't. They don't know how to be at peace with one another, it seems like.
There you go.
But I was asking you to describe some of those good traits of a woman and some of those good traits of a man, because before a person should enter a relationship, I believe that regardless of how good they think that they may be, that we should always work on self. I think working on self should be a continuous life journey.
Yes, sir.
Because
Period.
if I get to the
Talk
point to
about
where I think I know everything,
Talk about it.
then I got a problem.
Seriously.
And nobody wants to listen to somebody who just think they know everything. If there's something that I'm not quite certain of, then I should be man enough to say, well, you know what? Let me think on that because I'm not quite certain about that particular thing, or let me consider, because I don't want to be rash with my mouth and even give somebody, not even my wife, bad advice.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't want someone to do my daughter like that either.
Praise y'all.
You see, and just give them bad advice.
Praise
So
y'all. I know that's one of the things, that I've seen is that, a man gotta understand, the power of asking for help and being in the community. Because you're gonna fall on hard times at time. You're gonna fall on hard times, and the last thing you want to do is destroy that trust and that that love between you and your partner because you stressed out. You know, men, especially black men, we go through a lot here. You know, we in the land of our exile, so we have it twice as hard as everybody else. Um, so when looking for if we're still here in the Americas, when it comes to my daughter, I want to make sure I have the best possible relationship with that man that takes her on, so I can still kind of guide and mentor him. You know what I'm saying? So they can have success because it's about that team. Like when y'all become one, y'all are now a team. He's the captain of the team, but y'all are still a team. And we want to make sure that that team is successful and that, you know, this household is flourishing and it's blessed. Praise Yah. So I thought that was a great question. Now, what's your thoughts on the good qualities of a man or and a woman as well?
Well, see, the reason I asked that question in the first place is because once you have a daughter, then you can put things in a better perspective. Because as men, sometimes if we never had a child yet, let alone a daughter, we would probably have a different perspective. But when we have a daughter and we go to thinking, especially when they're just about nearing the time of where they're going to be entering into relationships, I wouldn't want someone to mistreat my daughter. So, and I would be furious. So I'd have to keep my mind straight when I'm dealing with someone else's daughter because I wouldn't want to be that hypocrite. So knowing that, I don't want to bring a representative when I'm meeting someone. I need the person that I'm meeting to know I'm who I am at that particular time. But people have gotten so comfortable by using a representative. And then once they feel comfortable, then the other individual find out who they really are. And sometimes that's just not going to mesh. But it's a beautiful thing to be able to be involved or have some type of involvement in your child, whether it's your son's relationship or your daughter's relationship, to help give them some good advice that's going to be a benefit. And I would say that someone who has been married for a while, when they have a child and that child is entering into a relationship that would possibly or hopefully lead into a marriage, or even if they're married, I believe that your input should be valued, especially if you've been a person who's been married 20, 30, 40 years or so.
Oh yeah.
Because marriage, again, is work. And a lot of times in these modern days here, people tend to be more watered down.
Very watered.
You know, when the tough get going, when the goings get tough, the tough get going. And that's an old saying, and that's very true. Times are not like they used to be, and I got to be honest with you, and I've said this a few times. I do believe in the very near future, we're going to see less marriages, far less marriages. I believe that marriage is on a decline right now. Matter of fact, I'm certain of it because the qualities of men and the qualities of women nowadays are not the quality of marriage.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of people just have their own personal agenda. And we're going to talk about some of those things. I believe that a lot of times guys go into relationships with deceitful practices. Women go into relationships with deceitful practices. I know women are hypergamous. I do know this. I know guys and males and females tend to get involved in relationships for like a play period, a play time. They're not necessarily taking it seriously. You know, even now, women are, for the most part, they're upset that they're not being approached in the way that they were accustomed to being approached.
Back in the day.
Yeah, and not even so long ago, to tell you the truth,
Right.
because this soft girl era has come along where they talk about this sprinkle, and
Tell
women
people about that real quick.
yeah,
just in case
it's
people don't know
and I
about
forget who started this, but I think the feminist movement and a lot of other influences came about with it, to where women have these really high delusional expectations of what a man is supposed to provide and do for them, even just for dating. And if a man is not able or willing to do certain things, then he's called dusty, and and like he's not worthy. In other words, he's supposed to finance a woman's lifestyle just to date her. So what she wants is a traditional man, but she don't think that she needs to bring anything to the table other than herself, however she is. And that's supposed to be acceptable because they're under the mentality that just to be able to date her, you need to be able to do something, period. Like paying her bills and just doing everything for her, using your resources on her, but she don't want to reciprocate. Now,
That's the
again,
biggest problem out here, man. You got people, you know, when you got good people in your life, man, you really gotta cherish those people, man. Seriously. Even if they just playing a friend role with you. Somebody that'll go out their way to do things and make sure if you got a friend that'll come and fix your flat tire and you a woman, he's a male, make sure you show your appreciation to that man. You know what I'm saying? Especially if y'all just on a friend basis. And likewise, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just about learning how to, like you said, reciprocate. I thought that really made my ears stick up when you said that. So I want to chime in on that.
yeah, they're calling men broke and dusty if they're not willing to take on these so-called responsibilities that a woman is mandating in order to be able to date them. So here's what did happen. Now the women were talking about sprinkle, sprinkle, right? If you can't do all these things, sprinkle, sprinkle. Well, now the guys are retaliating.
Say what?
And they're having their soft guy era.
Yeah.
So now what they're doing is they're putting those same things back up in the women's face, those delusional things that women expect from a man. Men are saying, look, if you can't read my mind and know what I want and go ahead and provide those things for me, keep it moving. If you can't go out and provide for me the same things you want me to do for you, keep it moving. You know, if you can't buy me this, if you can't help pay my bills, keep it moving. They don't want nothing to do with them. So they're saying drizzle, drizzle. So we got sprinkle, sprinkle against drizzle, drizzle. And this is a huge movement right now.
Oh, okay.
And so this is not something that's small right now. And you can go all on social media and the internet and you'll be able to find these things. And the guys are so serious because they've been really turned off because the quality of relationships has diminished greatly. I mean, it's just, it's funny. If you can't provide everything that a woman wants, then you're called dusty and broke. But she don't need to bring anything at all to the table because she says she is the table and you should be glad just to be able to spend time with her, period, because she's beautiful. So she thinks. And see, that's when I say a lot of times in this delusion, some, not all of our women, but quite a bit, a whole lot. They're under the impression that that they really are everything, that men should flock to them just because they deem themselves to be beautiful. But I talked about that mannequin, what was that, about a week or two ago? And I said, you can go buy yourself a mannequin, put that wig on that mannequin, you can put that lipstick on that mannequin, put them eyelashes, them nails, you can do all that stuff. And you can say, shh, that mannequin ain't gonna say nothing. It's not gonna give you all that mouth. And what I've discovered is, and if you pay attention, and again, this is not for all women, and this is for a lot of the young ones, definitely. But when they go to putting on the wig or that weave, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm around this a lot because I work in the school system. Their personality change. It's like they take on the personality of that wig and them lashes and those nails. Their whole demeanor changes.
They remember.
They walk around with a hairbrush in their hand constantly, just, you know.
Real talk, yeah. Because they remember a time where where the Almighty actually blessed, where they was blessed with beauty. The Almighty took those things away. You know what I'm saying? Because of how we were when we were in power. You know, I was when you consider how we are today, we tripping, we fooling today, and we the poorest people on the planet. So imagine how we were when we were in power. We was way worse. So the Almighty in the book of Isaiah, what's that, the second chapter? He said he would take he said
And he never gave it back. So like the women said, that we don't take it back. That's it. We can never have success when we're out of order. We can never have success that way. And the bottom line is we have to return back to the Almighty so that we can be restored with those blessings. But a lot of times people we just we don't consider.
yeah,
And the Almighty, He don't like it when we don't
Consider.
even consider.
that's deep. And my people don't even consider. Real.
Now, what's a woman's value? What's a woman's value?
What is a woman's value?
Mm-hmm.
According to the Almighty, her sexual discipline, number one. Two.
I'm glad you said that first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that first.
Yes, sir.
Because, see, our women don't really understand their value.
Yeah.
Our women, for the most part, not all, but most, don't really know their value. They give their value away. They give their virtuousness away. And they think that, and I really believe that the problem is because of the absence, in our time, the absence of fathers being in the home. You have a lot of women looking for love, but they don't understand what real love is because they never actually learn how to love themselves.
Yeah.
Because if they loved themselves, they wouldn't just be giving away the most precious thing they had
Yeah.
to somebody who was not worthy to be having it, even at that time.
Period. Yeah.
And it's like I say, once we have a child, once we have a daughter, our views start to change.
Thought about it.
Because I know that most men who have a daughter, I would like to believe anyway, that most men who do have a daughter, because we treat our daughter, we love our sons too, don't get me wrong, but those daughters are special. We guard those daughters even more so.
Yeah.
I know some men, they
They're
might,
supposed to be guarded more, honestly.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Your son, he can go out there because he a man. We built completely different. Women are they have to be protected. The Almighty said, even when a woman vow a vow, he can disallow that vow.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
exactly right. And I've
gotta
actually
do a
had to
better
say,
job.
I've done that myself.
for real.
I've done that myself because
Yeah.
sometimes men and women can be foolish. But when you're married and there's a situation to where you hear your wife say something and you know that they're not going to hold fast to it
Yeah.
because you tend to when you're married and you've been with somebody for a while, you know their mannerisms for the most part.
Right,
You
right,
know, you know if they say they're gonna do something, but you got to constantly remind them to do it or whatever a situation is. So I can understand that, and I think that's a benefit even to the woman who has a husband who's wise enough to do that. That way, she's not gonna be held to it
Yeah. Real talk.
because a lot of
Punishment gonna come.
oh yes,
Punishment gonna come.
yes.
Punishment definitely gonna come.
And see, as we get more mature, our mindset should be changing. That's in men and women. One of the
Yeah.
best qualities that I think that a man and a woman can have in a relationship for both of them is to, if they come to awareness that they're wrong about something, sometimes people can think else try to escape accountability. And that's a very important part of a relationship, to be able to humble oneself and make it right by apologizing. That way you're assuming accountability. You want to be held accountable. Let me ask you, in a relationship, do you want to be held accountable?
Me, absolutely. Let me know where I'm falling short at. Let's have a conversation about it, a respectful conversation about it. I absolutely want to be held accountable. And when I do something wrong in my relationships, I've always made it right. I've been in situations where I've been done wrong and the person didn't make it right. I know how that made me feel. You know what I'm saying? And that just that shows the character of a lot of people. Period. It shows how a person not only views you in the situation, but it shows how they view themselves. You know what I'm saying? Almighty said he do all things for himself. So when you can acknowledge when you're wrong about something, that shows that you are willing to grow. You're trying to grow. But when you can't even admit you were wrong and you don't make it right at all, like, man, you got some things you got to work on. Seriously.
A lot of times when we try to have conversations with a mate, that conversation becomes argumentative. Especially,
Majority.
yeah, it becomes argumentative because you're trying to get someone to be held accountable.
Yeah.
But I've learned that we should never have to even go through that process, because a person's character, first of all, should be a good character when you're involved with someone else, even in a friendship, let alone a marriage. And everybody's responsible for their own character. So if you call yourself being a good friend to someone or a good mate to someone or just wanting to be right with someone, then I think it's absolutely imperative that we be held accountable for our end of that relationship, period.
Right.
Because if you wanted to if I wanted to straighten out my mate, if she was in error, then I would also feel like she should be able to say something to me if I'm in error. And then I acknowledge it. And if I feel like, well, you know what, you got a good point, I should be willing. Matter of fact, I should be happy that it was brought to my attention,
Yes, sir.
so that I can straighten those things out. But in a lot of cases, when people say they don't want to be lied to, well, why is it that other arguments can come about because you're being honest with them when you tell the truth? Telling the truth to a woman. Now, I know in some cases, some men as well. So I'm not going to make this one sided. You can tell an individual the truth and they'll get upset with you.
Yeah.
And see, here's the thing. How could you be in a relationship with someone and expect that relationship to grow and be prosperous if you're not being honest? Because you're not a mind reader. I'm not a mind reader. I know sometimes when we're in relationships, we get so used to the other individual that we're with, we can pretty much read them for the most part and know what they're going to do or what they're not going to do. But we should never be at a point to where the truth makes us fall out.
Period. That's how you test people.
We should never be at that point.
That's how you test people. I come to learn that some of my closest friends to this day are some of my closest friends because usually we went through something, but the truth came out, and the scriptures say a friend loves at all times. So it's been Almighty until He'll take when you have a relationship with somebody and you say you love and care about somebody, especially as a servant of Almighty. The Almighty says He's gonna always comes out, that shows the true character of a person. Did you actually really, was this even real? or you know what I mean? Because we be getting into these relationships trying to control one another, trying to manipulate. But at the end of the day, the truth got to come out. You know what I'm saying? So this it's a fire to me. It's definitely a refining fire to truth. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, when individuals are entertaining a relationship, when they're trying to get a relationship together, and then when I talk about relationships, y'all know I'm talking about those that hopefully will lead to a marriage if you're not already married. It's always good to be friends first.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
always good. A lot of times people they'll rush into a relationship and they never even establish a friendship first. So when things start to go haywire, you don't really have anything to hold on to other than the fact that you may be intimate. But see, that's not the biggest thing. You have to learn to be a friend first. You've got to be able to do that. And in a lot of cases, people are not so. They're not friends before they get involved. But I think when you enter into a relationship, here's some things. When a man enters in a relationship with a woman, I definitely think that he needs to be looking for certain things that she may bring. Hold on for 1 second, y'all. You're just taking care of something. Well, like I was saying that when a man is getting involved with a woman, he should look for certain things that she's actually bringing to that relationship. Hopefully, she's bringing feminine energy. That's going to be so important. And when you become friends first, you'll see how she really is. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Before you start to engage in trying to turn that into anything different, you'd be able to tell if she's just in her femininity most of the time. Because, it's easy for somebody to flip a switch and then they be just straight into some masculine energy.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you want to see that she's bringing feminine energy. Does she make you feel respected? Or
There
does
it
she make
is.
you feel disrespected?
There it is.
No
You know
man
what?
wants to be disrespected. Go ahead and speak on that.
Nah, I love what you're saying, and oftentimes it's important for a man to have a motherly figure too, because we often we talk about father figures, but it's very important for a man to have a motherly figure because that's gonna be your standard when it comes to dealing with other women out here. Fortunately enough, you know what I mean. My mom instilled a lot of love into me and nurture me. So when I actually get out here and I start to understand and be able to read, like, nah, that ain't, this woman is not in her femininity. Because a woman in her femininity is always going to be there to really like, it's like an inspirational feeling you get. You know what I'm saying? That like when the scriptures talk about a bridegroom coming out of his chamber to marry his woman. That's his most glorious day. You know what I'm saying? When a man wants to marry a woman, it's usually because some type of inspiration is there. This woman fuels this man and makes him want to work harder and go out and conquer.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So when a woman doesn't have that energy, when she's not given that type of support and assistance and uh 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 you know, all of that feminine energy poured into that man, if that's not there,
Look what you
you know
just
what I
said. Look
mean?
what you just said. What I was getting ready to bring up. Look here. Does he feel supported by her?
Right.
So she
Yeah. Yes,
has
sir.
that's something that has to be there because we know we're going to support our woman, right? But a lot of time, men are talking about how the woman don't support them. They're not backing them. They're not inspired by the thing that the man does unless he's actually doing something for her.
Right. Yeah.
And these are issues that men are dealing with, serious issues, because, everything should be reciprocated. It shouldn't be that you're just constantly giving, but not receiving the same thing that you're putting out.
Exactly. Yeah. Period. Period.
Does she come with peace?
Yeah.
So if she's coming with femininity, she's not argumentative. She can receive instruction. She wants to be a helpmate. You see what I'm saying? All those things are good attributes, all of them. And then if she's doing all that, she's most definitely gonna come with peace. And that's something that a man is always looking for. A man isn't looking after he get off work, to go back to that situation to where he's sitting in the car for a while before he can go in the door. You see? Got to get his head right before he go back in the door.
That's real.
He don't want to go to work and be appreciated and then go home and be tolerated.
Yeah, that's real.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He can go to his job and do such a good job there. He's appreciated, but then go to where he should be getting support, but feel just tolerated. Guys are dealing with those particular type of issues. Like I say, there's men who are deciding that they don't want to continue on in their relationships because they feel like they're doing everything for the woman. And these are some guys that are not quite married yet. Well, not quite, but they're not married yet. But they're trying to figure out how this woman would be in marriage. But the woman has gotten so comfortable and being spoiled to where she will lay around and she won't cook, she won't clean, because she say those are things that are the responsibilities of a wife. But yet she's looking for this same man to do those things that are the responsibility of a husband. It's not a boyfriend's job to take care of your financial needs and things. But you're staying there at his place where he's paying all the bills. But a woman nowadays is saying, well, he's going to do that anyway. He's going to pay the rent anyway. He's going to pay his water bill, his heat. He's going to do that anyway. Why should he ask me to now help? That's something that he got to do anyway. But if you're supposed to be his helpmate, then you want to help take that burden up off of him, especially if you have a modern mindset. He has a modern mindset, but you want him to be a traditional man.
There you go.
So she wants him to transform, but she don't want to transform. Speak on that. Because I look at the madness that's going around in this world today where people that look like you and me are concerned. Because right now I'm only concerned about people who look like you and myself.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is we just can't have it both ways.
Period.
It's got to be one way that's going to be a benefit for both parties.
Period. Yeah. Be willing to change herself too. You know what I'm saying? It gotta make sense. It got to make sense. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I wanna know why do men got to apologize for simply being men though? Why do we have to tone down our masculinity or our manhood to appease and to go along to get along? Why do we have to do that? Like and more so I'm speaking on various things, but like by nature, the way that we are trained to be and conditioned to be in America as men, that's not how we are when it comes to dealing with our women. You know, we come from a matriarchy, number one, right? We're the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So we come from matriarchy. That's established right there. So we come from that thread of the man being the head of the household, right? The man goes out to war. The man is the provider. He goes out and get the resources. The woman falls in line. You know what I'm saying? And we find that this creates peace in the society. So why do men gotta tell? Why do we gotta apologize simply for just being us?
Well, all this comes from the so-called feminist movement.
Mm.
And people who look like you and me, our women, should have never gotten involved with that. So what they're saying, if a man is displaying manly traits, then he's toxic because he's displaying manly traits. So here's what's been happening. women complained about toxic masculinity, which is just a man being a man, right? And so now they wanted men to be softer. So now men are being softer. So now they have something to say about that. Now, men are being too soft as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
They're being extremely too soft, bent wrist soft and things, and, but women don't know what they really want. And now men are just really being confused because men tend to want to try to cater to women
Yeah.
instead of being men.
Because they want that
You,
physicality.
you see what I'm saying? They want to be accepted. And it's really hard. And, I try to even explain to most of my sons are very close to 40 and upper in age and upper in the 30s and whatnot. I have a daughter that's should be 44 pretty soon, but I still have a 15 and a 16-year-old. Still have a 16-year-old daughter that'll be 17 this year, and have a son that'll be 16 coming up. But the bottom line is, I try to teach my son that he can't be soft. He can't be like men are today because men have been trained by women to be more watered down, by society to be more watered down.
Yeah.
And I want my son to stay in a masculine frame.
Yes, sir.
I don't want my son to feel like he has to
And that's your youngest
cater.
son, too.
My youngest son, the
yeah.
one that's 15 now, he'll be 16. I'm trying to teach him certain things because I know society will say that if he acts a certain way, he's toxic.
Right. Or something wrong.
Just by displaying traits of masculinity.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, masculinity should be associated with a male and femininity should be associated with a female.
Yeah.
But we're
getting the two mixed up. It's two different things.
Mixed up. So mixed up. I was telling you a situation where I asked I don't want to get into the details because I know certain people will see this, and my thing is not to offend anyone, but in certain environments, I've asked, in highly populated area, I've asked, man, how many feminine females do they see in that particular area? Females who display on a regular basis just femininity. And there's a large population. And a couple of guys, and I asked them randomly, not at the same time.
Right.
A couple of guys on different occasions thought about it and then said, they took the time, said, maybe a handful or two. Now, this is a highly populated area with females.
And only a handful of feminine.
A handful or two, and I got that answer on 2 different occasions on separate days. And I agreed with them. Then I asked somebody else a question, an older person. They gave me a higher number. And I was lost with that higher number because I'm in it, and then I've been in that same environment, and I just haven't seen it like that. So, but we've got to get our females back to being feminine and got to get our males back to being masculine. If there's anyone that is logged in right now, type something in to let me know so far what you think about the conversation that we've been having here. Do you think we're on point? Do you think we're off? Appreciate your comments. Just type something in. Let us know if we're on point. If you see the same thing that we see. And like I say, I talk to plenty of guys. I talk to plenty of females as well. And they see some of the same things that we're discussing here today.
I had a question. Should the servants of the Almighty, that's whether you're a son or a daughter of the Most High, should we be entertaining relationships with people that don't serve the Most High? Will that lead to anywhere, or is that a waste of time? because I was having a conversation with somebody, and I was pretty much letting them know, like, it's really hard to change people once they reach a certain age. You know what I'm saying? So your best bet, if you truly looking for what you're looking for, and you know better, you probably want to get somebody that's on the same page as you. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I tell you what, you're on point.
Okay. Yeah.
You're on point. There's an old saying, say birds of a feather flock together.
Real talk.
But see, let's take it even deeper here. When you are grounded, and if you're grounded, that means you're going to be more traditional. If you're grounded in the Almighty's word, that means you're going to be traditional. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying, because a lot of times you have someone who may go to church.
Right.
They'll say they're grounded, and they might call the person God, call him God or whatnot. But you and I, we know something different.
Yeah.
So you can even have a problem when you have someone, and again, this is not to offend anyone, so please understand where I'm coming from with this. You can have a guy who know he's an Hebrew Israelite, who get involved with someone from the church. Now that may work depending on who that Israelite guy is, because you have some people who incorporate certain things that they get in the church.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But if you have somebody who's sticking with the foundation to where they're going by what the Almighty says, you understand? Now, I don't know if I should be able to break this down on
Some
this
people
segment.
sleep, even if you break it down, they still ain't gonna get it.
But you know where I was trying to go with this.
Yeah.
So I don't want to lose anybody.
Right.
So let me just keep it this way right here. If I'm a Hebrew Israelite, and I recognize that I'm a Hebrew Israelite, and I recognize the word of the Almighty, which I'm gonna find in the so-called Old Testament, and I go by that as my foundation, then I want a mate that's going to be, and I do have a mate that understands that same principle that I want to go by. That's the principle that she's going to go by, right?
Exactly.
And that's the same principle that she goes by. Now, if I'm a person that want to stay true and maintain my integrity in my relationship with the Almighty, then it wouldn't be a benefit for me to search for a mate that's outside of that.
That's deep.
It wouldn't be a benefit to me at all. Matter of fact, it would be a detriment, because it would be me trying to change someone's mindset on something that they probably grew up with.
You think a man can kind of deal with that better than a woman? Or you think it's kind of on the even plane? That's just speaking honest from your point of view.
I think, me being a man, let me put it that way. Let me use myself as an example. It would be easy for me not to deal with a woman that's not the same faith and belief and understanding that I am.
Yeah.
That would be an easy thing for me to deal with.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't even entertain that. Now, I'm blessed to be in a position to where I've been married for quite some time right at this point in time. And I can remember when I first started talking to my wife and explaining certain things to her, like not working on the Sabbath day. You know, when we were getting started in our relationship, she was ready to quit her job. Then at that particular point in time, I said, hold on. I'm not ready to start just taking care of you.
That's
yeah,
she liked that.
But she was ready. She was ready to quit her job. And, she was aware
and that's
of some
the
of the laws.
benefit, sisters. That's the benefit y'all get.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And so eventually, like I said, as we got together and whatnot, I established the fact that I did want her to stay home.
And I honestly think that's the better way to go. Sometimes a woman may have to, especially in this economy, we know we in inflation right now. So things are utterly ridiculous economically. But for the most part, it's better for that your wife to stay home and take care of the house and the children, if y'all plan on having children and things of that nature. I find that formula to work best speaking from experience. Howbeit you may fall on hard times, and I think me and you was talking about this a couple of weeks ago. A woman can even find an at-home job, right? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it's always, I believe it's always going to be a benefit when you have that woman at home, especially if you have young children, because you'll
Serious.
be able to nurture those children. And see, here's the thing: a lot of times women don't understand. You don't just nurture the children; you have to nurture that environment. You also nurture
Environment.
your husband.
There you
You
go.
see, and I'm not talking about in a babyish way.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? But a lot of times women have to learn certain things because they haven't been taught those things as they were growing up, because a lot of times they didn't see those things. Because again, we're people that, for a big part, we come from single parent households.
That's right.
We come from divided homes, and a lot of these things were by design. It used to be a time some years ago that black couples were married at a much higher rate, but now it's not like so. It's not like so. And, most traditional men, I would have to say, I know would want a traditional woman. But nowadays, it's just the opposite. You have non-traditional women wanting a traditional man. In other words, she wants the benefits of a traditional man, but she don't want to give that man the benefit of her being a traditional woman.
See, that's a false balance.
That's definitely a false balance. Speak on it. That's a false balance. Elaborate.
Yeah, Almighty said a false balance is an abomination to him. So if one, it's just not fair to him in his eyes. If a man has a role given from the Almighty and he's fulfilling all of those roles, which are traditional roles, what we talk about here are the traditional roles the Almighty have given us. But the woman doesn't want to play her part. She don't want to hold up her end of the bargain. At that point, what's the point of us even being together?
Let's
I
get
want all the
deep.
benefits of a marriage.
Let's
You know
get
what I'm saying?
deep. Let's get deep here for a second.
Yeah, I want all the benefits.
Let's get deep. We can ready to get to some stuff. We done probably hit little snippets of it, but let's talk about marriage for a second here. Let's see, where did marriage come from?
Yahweh created Adam and Eve, and he told them Adam seen Eve and was like, "This is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. So shall a man leave his mother and his father, and shall cleave unto his wife. They shall become one flesh." So that's marriage.
So
Yeah.
who came first, the man or the woman?
The man.
And the Almighty said that it wasn't good for man to be alone, right?
That's right.
So he made that woman for man, that the woman would be a helpmeet to that man, right? Now, when they became one flesh, meaning you have two individuals, but their journey is that of oneness
Right.
with the Creator,
Exactly.
right? So that woman had to be, once she became a wife, she had to receive instruction from her husband in order to know how she should be a helpmeet to him, right?
Period.
So she needed to know what he needed taken care of, what he needed done. She had to do that. So now let's fast forward to today when we have marriage. It's not like the Almighty described the way a marriage should be. It's not like that at all. Remember, I said marriages have become so commercialized that they're not normal marriages now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're not normal marriages.
They like, as you said, modern day marriages, but it's not, because that's not what a marriage is.
It's not of the Almighty.
Yeah.
The marriages that we see taking place today are not the type of marriages that would even be acceptable in the Almighty's eyes as the way He wanted it.
There you go.
Now, let me be clear. If a man is married to another woman, they're still married in the sight of the Almighty, but not the way the Almighty wanted it to be. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you got, well, I'm just going to keep it real. Marriage was supposed to be between a man and a woman. And the Almighty said He's the third cord in that marriage. Right? And there's benefits to a man being married to a woman. One, they can procreate. Right? And they were supposed to marry and then raise children and then give their sons and daughters, give their daughters to men you see what I'm saying? so that they could procreate and you could keep your name. Your name would always continually go. Because when you have a seed, when you have a child, right? And then you have a male child and your male child has children and then they have children, all that gets started by you. Like you're your father's son.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So, but a lot of times people, we don't really understand the benefits of being married.
Man.
We don't understand the benefits. Then you have someone that's there. But nowadays, people are only looking for monetary benefits.
Yeah, that's true.
In today's relationships, even with dating, why should I have to finance somebody's life just to get to know them? Why should I have to pay your bills with dating just to get to know you? Why is it that every time we go out on a date, I should be expected to pay just because I'm trying to get to know you? Why is it that you feel like your presence is all that I deserve? That you're all of that, so I should just be pleased to be with you. What makes you so, as a woman, what would make you so precious that I should be willing to spend all of my money on you and everything should be about you? What would make that woman think that? And all her glory, what should make her think that? Go ahead.
I mean, I'm not a woman, so I don't know why they think, but I'm gonna give a good guess. For women out there like that, and I've met women like that, and to me, that's a red. Like, you know what I mean, I didn't express interest in a woman, and I found out she was kind of like that. I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I ain't getting down like that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no simp, for real. But it's given like what they call it, pedestalizing. Pedestalizing vibes. Yeah. And I mean, it's different if this woman had, if she wasn't a modern woman, if she's a traditional woman and she got everything, all of those qualities that the Almighty outlined, how a wife is supposed to be. Like when Proverbs say, a man that finds a wife finds a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
If she got all of those qualities, then I wouldn't mind. You know what I'm saying? But
you wouldn't mind what?
And entertain her as my wife, and we go out on a date. I wouldn't mind paying if I'm asking you to go out. You know what I'm saying? For us to court one another, I wouldn't mind paying. You know what I'm saying? I would look for that in her too. I want to see where her character is at too. Like, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I want to show that I'm able to take care of her. You know what I'm saying? In some way, but that's only for a woman that fit those qualities. Now these women out here, I don't know about that one, sir.
It's a different time.
You gotta really be showing me something seriously. You know what I'm saying? For real. But nah, you asked the question, so I mean, what's your thoughts on that? When you first had your wife, did she know the Almighty at first?
Of course.
Okay, so I'm sure when y'all went out on dates, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You took care of business, I'm sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So for some women, I mean, I don't know. It depends on the heart and the spirit of this woman. Like, seriously, like, you know what I'm saying? If I'm getting a good vibe and I feel like she's worth my time, and because I take my time very seriously, I'm a busy man. So if I'm spending time with a woman, she gotta be some type of, she has to be important to me. You know what I mean? So, but go ahead though.
A lot of times, because men are visual and men seek out what they deem to be a beautiful woman, one thing you never ever want to do is put that woman on a pedestal.
Okay.
You never want to put that woman. Now you can show that you appreciate her. You can do things, but keep in mind that she is a human being. She's a person.
Right.
And when we elevate someone and we put them on a pedestal, that means you're raising them up. So if you raise someone up, then the only thing they can really start to do is look down on you. And because it's sort of like you meet a movie star and you're a fan. So
get
you
what you're
done
saying.
lifted them up. You see what I'm
I hope
saying?
the internet audience understand what he's saying. You know what I mean?
So
Clearing it up now.
yeah, because it can diminish the way she actually starts to feel about
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
You see,
exactly.
so we have to be very careful about that.
Nah,
You
I get
can,
what I get where you're going.
okay, break it down for him for the
No,
younger.
like I said,
younger-
I've dealt with women like that
Okay,
before. You know
okay.
what I'm saying? Where they expected me to spend my resources, and I don't even know what you're doing. I don't even know if I'm. I don't know if I'm the only man. I don't even feel comfortable. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna be spending my time and my money on you, I gotta know who you are, what you about, like, period. So,
In today's time when you're dating, you have to be very clear to ask a woman for exclusivity.
yeah,
I need to know, you need to let them know, I need to know that we're exclusive,
There you
even during this dating process.
Sure.
Because a lot of times they may tell you, look, we're just dating. We're just dating. And she may be dating some other people too to try to narrow down what she believed to be her options.
right.
You see, now again, I have to make
Is there
this
something wrong with
perfectly
that though?
clear.
You think?
Absolutely.
Okay.
How you gonna get to know somebody if you're not if I'm dating 3, 4, 5 people at a time?
Especially a woman.
How can I really get into the one if I'm spreading my energy all around the board? So if a woman is dating someone other than me, see, right? I'm just using myself for an example. If I'm a single person and I know that a woman was dating more than one person, I would not be interested in that because you're not giving it a fair chance to see what chemistry we have because you're trying to compare chemistry with this person, chemistry with this person, chemistry with that person. Not only that, you're comparing what this person has as far as resources. You're comparing his resources. You're comparing his resources. So you're evaluating it in a way to what's going to be the best possible outcome for you. Like this person's car is nicer than this. People tend to be more materialistic these days.
Yeah.
You might be a great person, but have an older car.
Right.
This person might have a newer car, but not as good.
In other words, the things that are superficial.
Exactly. This person might have a bigger pocket than your pocket. You see what I'm saying? And the world has become so superficial today that, and we have to keep in mind, and this is not to offend anyone, but we're going to tell the truth, right?
Absolutely.
Women by nature are hypergamous. Once a woman is able to move up in life and be at a certain status, because maybe she's with this person or she's elevated in one way or another, she's not trying to go back down. Do you see what I'm saying? So if things are not working out with you, that's just like what we talked about before. I said once a woman, say if you've been in a relationship, but she leaves, right? You might not know she's gone because she hasn't physically left yet. But if she's left you already emotionally, she's already gone.
Real talk.
She's already gone. She just haven't left
It's only
yet.
a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time because a woman will leave you emotionally first before she leaves you physically. Now, if she's left you emotionally and then here come Larry Lightbulb or somebody else down the road who's in a better position than you are.
Yeah.
And every man, for the most part, know what to say to a woman, especially if they feel that they can see that she's vulnerable at that time. He knows exactly what to say to get in her good graces. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so once a woman becomes involved with another person emotionally, right? But she's still with you. She's left you emotionally, but she get involved with somebody else emotionally. She haven't left you physically yet. That relationship is already done.
Yeah, man.
It's already done.
Yeah.
See, I know we're going from this topic to that topic, but we gonna tell the truth about some things here.
It's good.
And see, we need to be. We're gonna get to a point to where, hopefully, y'all, we're gonna get to a point to where, and I know it's coming to where we have some women on this podcast as well. Right now, we just in the baby step, but we getting ready to take some steps where we're gonna have some women in here as well, so that we can really dialogue, and that way you can see both perspectives. Because we're gonna have some honest women on here who's gonna tell it just like it is. Because I know I'll say some things, or this young fella might say some things that people don't want to necessarily hear, but it's going to be the truth.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we're in the business of trying to help build relationships that would lead to marriages. And I'm talking about long lasting marriages. And a lot of times in our situations, when the tough get when the going get tough, the tough get going.
Yes, sir.
And see, our relationships don't have the stability that they should have. And anybody who's been in any kind of relationship that didn't succeed, even after a long period of time, the men know and the women know that the first thing that was gone was that emotion. That woman's emotions were not the same towards that man.
Yeah. Period. Says period.
So listen, we're gonna have this segment to be continued because right now it's just about 4 o'clock, and I know we were jumping around a bit here and a bit there.
We had took a break last week, so we about to rekindle again, and like you said, we about to internet audience stay tuned because we about to add some other elements. We got a sister that's gonna come on. She's gonna give her input as well, and she's a very dynamic sister, who's a femininity coach as well. So we gonna have some. We just getting started. As you said, we in the baby steps right now. So everybody continue to stay tuned because it's about to turn up. It's about to turn up.
And I want all the men to stay in your masculine frame.
Please.
Stay in your masculine frame. That's going to be your value, and have a good head on your shoulders. And regardless of what some of these women want you to be, they want you to be softer. Stay in your masculinity. And if you're traditional, stay with that, because that's what the Most High wants. I'm telling you, it is very difficult. Matter of fact, I'm going to make a statement, say it's impossible to be successful and have a good marriage if you have a modern mindset. You must have a traditional mindset, and you want a mate that's going to have that traditional mindset. All right?
All right. Praise y'all. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Tap back in with us next week on Duty of Man, Marriage and Relationships. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.